If you had to say the top two or three things of why you've been successful, I mean, 4 years going from 150 to 400 something, how'd that happen? What's the top things that you did to?
I'll tell you what was number one for me was that, I had the confidence to do it. And it has to do with, we went through some really tough stuff trying to get out of West Palm with my family. So, when we took this dive, my wife was like, Eric, listen, just, what you're doing, take the dive. So really she's been like, she helped me through the whole thing because I had some doubts in the beginning. And then I just became, my whole strategy was I'm never going to be behind the bench if I don't have to. Everything I do is outside the community. I'm going to market myself. I'm going to sell myself. I'm going to spend the money and keep my pharmacist employed. He had a huge salary. I could have just let pharmacists go and just started cleaning house and just sat behind the bench and worked and made a decent living. I said, no, that's not my style. So I still spend to this day, 90% of my day outside the store, meeting with providers, meeting with patients, rounding at the hospital, doing whatever. My mission is I'm not going to sit behind the bench because that's just not the way that you can grow. Especially can't grow that fast.
Yeah, we've seen that. It's one of those stories we seem to hear repeated, that those pharmacies are successful are they're out in the community. They know people. And because of that, when those people have a problem, a lot of times they pick up the phone and they call and they go, hey, Eric, we got some extra COVID vaccines, right? What can you help us out, right? So tell us about that story.
Yeah, so I worked with the Department of Health with the COVID testing program for a while last year, and they knew that we could vaccinate as well as test, of course. And we actually, a part of our model overall is doing vaccines at patients' homes, ALFs, vaccine clinics. I mean, we've been embracing the vaccine movement for the last 2 years, and it's really taken off. So they knew what we could do, and they know we had pharmacists driving around in the past to do vaccines. So they said, hey, listen, and actually to rewind a little bit, my ALFs that worked with me, because I have a long-term care pharmacy, actually signed up with me to be their pharmacy vaccine provider. And the state of Florida goes, no, sorry, we're not using him. You have to use CVS, Walgreens, or this other company. And then then the big chain just stopped showing up. I was literally at an ALF yesterday, and she showed me a box of probably 300 forms for COVID vaccines from CVS. It's a 4-bed facility. They have 4 patients. And they sent them a box of forms, never showed up. Mailed them a box of forms, fill these out, never showed up, no call, nothing. So anyway, fast forward to February 1st, the Department of Health says, Eric, all the vaccines that CVS and Walgreens could not use by January 31st, which was their deadline, has just been added back to the state inventory. So why don't you go out, finish off these ALFs that they missed, and then start working on the homebound patients, which you already have a model for. So first week we got 50, and then it went to 250. And then now the next week is 600. This week was 540.
Wow.
So we're going up. And I just got an email about an hour ago from the state emergency management for the state of Florida saying they saw our program. They saw we did about 900 homebound patients. They want to give us more direct from the state too, to address other counties because the other counties aren't doing it as well. So I have to try to figure out how I'm going to do that.
I'm sure you said yes. And then you said, I'm going to figure this out, right?
Dude, everything's like that, man. It's just like whenever it's not, that's how I am. Like my staff probably hates me, but anytime someone calls me, he's like, you're going to do this. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I get back to the staff like, hey, this is what we're going to do. They're like, oh, no, you're not. I'm like, no, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like, yes, I can absolutely do that. And you're shaking your head no while agreeing to it.
And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Amina's one of our pharmacists in North Carolina, and her model is always say yes and figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
And she claims that her staff hates her because she walks in the door and she's like, hey, here, do this.
I'm the same way. I'm all over the place, I guess is what I tell them, and I'm always changing something. Or the cool thing is for me, I walk in when I'm about to do something. I go, what do I need to do to make your life easier? Right. So you can do this. That's the whole key. Right. And then I buy them a whole bunch of lunch and coffees and all types of stuff just to keep them happy for a while. Right. Like for a week at a time. But I'm like, what do I need to do maybe at the workflow in the pharmacy, software, whatever it may be, delivery level, to help so we can start providing these services. So that's how everything kind of works for us. automation, whatever it may be. But it's all about setting your staff up for success.